Okay, getting back into the full swing of things here with the creative world of logo design, we're going to take care of the design creation section. Now, the design creation section consists of formalization, concept, inspiration, sketching, digitizing, and finally, font. Which of course we all know font is going to be probably one of the most important things when it comes to your logo. Now, let's go and discuss directive in depth here so we can gain an understanding of what's expected of us. Any correspondence I receive from a client, I automatically put into some sort of text document. That way I can refer back to it and I understand exactly what the project consists of. The information usually consists of a directive like make one professional logo for a company. Variations 10. They would like 10 different variations of your logo. And the top 3 they pick out of your 10, they would like 2 edits done. Now, of course, this helps as you won't be doing edits for 2 years straight and we get it done. The company information. Of course, we have the name, which is Wasp Away. We have the product and products, which is Bug Spray. And company branding. We refer to the company branding of the company with black and white colors and a wasp. The purpose, well, it's bug spray to protect against wasps. We have notes from the client. I want our company name with a wasp in it. Make it black and white. It will be a third color, but we are unsure right now. Please provide some concept ideas. Well, we're going to provide the concept ideas with 10 variations, and I guess, we can change up some colors as long as we're using black and white. We'll check out their website. We'll get some more information about their company. And of course, we'll look at the additional notes from your project manager or boss. I will need you to provide me with conceptual designs of a wasp by Monday and full conceptual designs by Tuesday, 9 a.m. We're going to start needing to formulate some ideas based around the logo concepts here we're going to create. Now, to formulate these ideas, we're going to base this off the client directive, first of all. And taking those key pieces of information that we find within this, we're going to start doing our research and get some ideas on how we can come up with a concept. Now, in order to come up with concepts, so on and so forth, we need a little bit of inspiration. And in order to do that, you obviously need to see a picture of something like a wasp. There's a few ways of going about doing that. You can go out and hopefully see one, or you can just simply go to Google Images. Google Images is a great resource to gain understanding and insight onto the subject you plan on designing. In this case, the wasp, we can see different angles, views, and we can look at certain elements. And because we're designing a wasp, we're going to need something to digitize once we start designing. I suggest you buy a stock photo of a wasp, or you take a picture of a wasp, or you can sketch a wasp. What I like to do is open up Fireworks and then just get to work using my memory. Another way I like to work out my concepts is by sketching. Using traditional methods of pencil, crayons, and pens, I sketch out the visuals that I've seen by looking at pictures of wasps. Once I've obtained a sketch that I like, it's time to start digitizing it. When digitizing my concepts, the software of choice for me is Adobe. Adobe has a wide variety of software available to do this, and you can use Photoshop, you can use Illustrator, or in my case, Fireworks. I like Fireworks. It's mostly web-based graphic design, but I've been using it for years and I'm very comfortable in it. Either way, you're going to be wanting to import your concept into the program so we can digitize it. Now we're going to discuss the difference between raster bitmap images and vector images. Now, first of all, raster is compiled of dimensions measured in pixels, which are little dots like that that contain color and information. And the thing about a raster is you cannot scale it without losing resolution. It pixelates. These are the tools that comprise making a raster image, where of course, first and foremost, we have the paintbrush, which, to give you an example, if we raise this up a little bit, we simply draw. And with that raster image, of course, we have effects, soft rounded on it, everything else like that. Scale that up a little bit here, give you a better perspective of what we're looking at. Okay, now let's analyze the vector. I like to create using vector images because a vector uses objects like lines to form shapes that represent images. You can scale a vector without losing quality. Therefore, it is really, really good for any images that you plan on sizing up. You cannot size up a raster image. You can size it down and still maintain some kind of good quality, but as soon as it sizes up, it pixelates. The vector control panel right here, and first we can deal with some objects, which in turn this will give us a stroke of red with a fill of black, as you can see. This is one complete object. The pen tool, a great little tool to use. Of course, we bring that down to 1, perfect for outlining. It fills. So what a vector is going to do, it's based on points, and it uses mathematics to fill in between the points. So basically, you're making a point, a point, a point, a point, a point. Anytime you stop that point into another point, it therefore mathematically fills in the blanks, and in turn makes this not pixelate. So if you're out of 100%, 100% is your viewpoint, and of course anything out of 100% would make a raster pixelate, and vector images do not do that. Therefore, I like to draw and design using vectors. Let's start by importing our document. Whether it's a picture or a sketch, we're going to import it into our software program, Adobe Fireworks, and there we go. From this point, we're going to use the vector graphic tool, which is the pen. And we're simply going to be outlining and designing our wasp this way. Now what you can do is you take your pen tool and you can set it so once we're done our outline, you have a fill of black, and the stroke is going to be black. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the stroke, and I'm going to make the fill white. I just go around my wings here, like so, following the lines, and of course, closing off the points. And there you have it. There's the first wing, completed. Now after I'm done designing my graphic, I'm going to have something that resembles this. And after visualizing this and being satisfied with the way it looks, the next step is I'm going to be putting it into the master logo design, which will consist of the font and the text layout. Fonts are your friends, and there is literally hundreds of thousands to choose from. The most important thing about it is You want your fonts to be original and unique, one of a kind. Well, in order to do that, there's all sorts of things you can do, including just simply using hand-drawn fonts and downloading software that turns those hand-drawn fonts into font. Or you can use editing software and just design the fonts yourself. Oftentimes I will take a font I like and modify it. It's important that your fonts are original and unique. It's also important that you're not breaking any sort of licenses in using a font or modifying a font. Here's a nifty little trick on how to conceptualize and design fonts that you would like to make original. Once again, the vector tool can help you do this. You can trace fonts, and not only that, you can manipulate them in a way that make them completely your own. I've already created a font conceptual design for my logo, and now we're going to take an in-depth look into all the elements that make it up. Now it's time to rip this logo apart and see what it's made of. Okay, here we have the text. Now, the text, I've just used the font that I've liked and I've manipulated it in a way that it's original, it's unique. It's also a font that I can basically do anything with because I have access to thousands upon thousands of fonts. This one in particular we're using is Bernard MT Condensed, and it's a really nice looking font. Now incorporated with the logo, it's going to take on a look of its own. Now also here we have some boxed content and of course the circle and the divider. This here made up the S as the stinger, and we have our little friend the wasp. Now, as is, the client was requesting a third color to be thrown in here. That gave you an idea of what yellow might consist of, but let's see if our little friend here can get a change of clothes on and look a little different. Hey, that might just work for us. Let's put it back together and see. Now that we have the logo we're working on put back together like this, we can analyze it and see where we want to inevitably put our wasp and then finish carving out the rest of the logo. Of course, inspiration for things like this can be drawn from, well, Google Images. We've got an array of different logos, which are combined logos. Now, combined logos is taking your wording along with visuals like this and boxing them in content. So you have something like this. Just talk about the design quickly, about how we have the A, the black, the whites, we have the stinger, so on and so forth right here. I like the black and the white. It's sort of modernized the way it's offset like that, and the white blends into the white. And what I like to do is I'll take all my content like this, excluding the wasp, and I'll group it. And then when I've got it grouped, I can add effects to it using filters. So let's maybe say drop shadow. We increase our shadow and fuzz it up a bit. And that there is basically going to give us a three-dimensional look. Of course, these are concept designs. We're going to be changing them. We're going to be manipulating them, making them look different variations. Because as of per directive, they'd like at least 10, right? Looks pretty good there. I'm thinking we're going to save that. And from this point, maybe we can crop that out. And we'll just separately save it in a file. Just so we know that this logo is logo 1 underscore master. Of course, you're going to name it so you can remember what it is. Now, as I said, I use Fireworks. Fireworks generates what's called a PNG file, and that's particularly good for web-based graphics along vector-based graphics too. It's larger in file size, just concepts we're working on right now. And there you go. Voila. This is the question and answer section for logo design creation. What types of images lose quality if resized up? Is it 1, raster, or 2, vector? If you said 1, raster, you're correct. Rasters are based on pixels, and when resized up, pixelate. What Adobe program is not meant for creating graphics? Number 1, Photoshop. Number 2, Dreamweaver. Number 3, Fireworks. Number 4, Illustrator. If you said Dreamweaver, then you're correct. Dreamweaver was created for building web pages. Photoshop, Fireworks, and Illustrator were built for creating graphics. What makes a directive important? Is it 1, it contains details about the logo specs? 2, is it not important? Or 3, a directive tells you how many variations are needed. If you answered 1 and 3, then you're right, because the directive contains details about the logo specs, and that helps with workflow and what you need to get accomplished. It also tells you how many variations are needed, so you know how many different types of logos to create.